So what are the steps to take so you can keep your faith in college and beyond, and even during grade school? Well, I have all of these steps written out on a piece of paper, and I know that while it may be kind of difficult to read everything on this piece of paper, I will have all of these steps written in the YouTube description for this video. And remember that these steps are very important to focus on even before college, during grade school. Remember these steps and focus on these steps even in grade school and then in college and beyond. And so the step to take before college is to dedicate your life to the Lord and develop the mentality that is, I am 100% dedicated as a Christian, and I will stay very seriously focused on doing what is right according to the Bible and resisting what is sinful according to the Bible. And then when you finally start college, on the first day of college and then every day during college, tell yourself, I am very seriously focused on living as a Christian, doing what is right according to the Bible, resisting what is sinful according to the Bible, and I will let the whole world see it through my words and my actions. And I am not going to be afraid to show that to people, but rather I am going to be brave. On the first day of college and then every day during college, I am going to tell myself that I am 100% focused, very seriously focused on living as a Christian. And then step 2 is find a Bible study during the week and remain involved with Sunday morning church services. And maybe on your college campus, there is a Bible study taking place, and nearby, there may be a church where you can attend Sunday morning church services. There may even be a chapel on the college campus. And yes, definitely stay involved with a Bible study and Sunday morning church services. Whether you are driving to school and driving home, or if you are living on a college campus. I hope that you can find a Bible study and a church where you can attend on Sunday mornings, and then you can invite other people in college to join you for a Bible study and Sunday morning church services. And you are always reminded during Bible study and Sunday morning church services to keep on living for the Lord. And I know for me, when I was in college and beyond, and even during grade school, on Tuesday evening, it was worship band practice, and Thursday evening was college Bible study, and Saturday morning was another worship band practice, and then Sunday morning was playing my violin with the worship band at Anderson Ferry Church of Christ and hearing a sermon as well. And that was very good for me during all of my college years and beyond. And I remember how I got involved with all of that even in grade school. So I hope that when you are in college, you can remember step 2, which is find a Bible study during the week and remain involved in Sunday morning church services and invite other people to join you and lead others to Christ. And so that is step 2. And then step 3 is study the Bible and have a devotional in your own time So, in addition to hearing someone lead a Bible study, and in addition to hearing someone preach a sermon, it is very important to study the Bible and a devotional in your own time so you can know the Bible more and more. And I know for me, after studying the Bible more and more, I know where this Bible verse is located and where that Bible verse is located. Just like how, when I think about all the years of my life when I have studied musicians' careers, and for Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel, I know this one song is on that album and this other song is on that album. With the Bible, the more we study the Bible, the more we can remember where this Bible verse is located and where that Bible verse is located. Just like how, after all of this studying, I know that Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 and 11 talks about being strong in the Lord. Finally, be strong in the Lord and put on the full armor of God. And 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17 is pray without ceasing. Pray without ceasing. Pray continually. Pray without ceasing. And so, yes, in addition to hearing someone lead a Bible study, and in addition to hearing someone preach a sermon, all good things, also study the Bible in your own time and have a devotional in your own time. And I love having the books Every Day with Jesus from David Jeremiah and Walking with Jesus from David Jeremiah, so I can be reminded every day about the Christian faith and I can apply Christian behavior every day. And I know the Bible more and more through all of this studying in my own time. So that is step 3. Study the Bible and have a devotional in your own time. And then step 4 and step 5, I have mentioned these points before, but I would like to mention them again so you can keep your faith in college and beyond, and even during grade school. And step 4 is always think about long-term consequences. Always think about long-term consequences before you speak and before you act. And remember that sin has real long-term consequences, and it can happen to anybody, including you and me. So, whenever we are tempted to sin, let us say, nope, not doing that. I'm not going to talk that way. I am not going to act that way. And I know what the long-term consequences are. I am not going to mess up my life. So please always remember long-term consequences. Always think about long-term consequences. And then step 5 is remember the word no and use it with people. Don't be afraid to use the word no, but rather be brave and use the word no when someone is tempting you to sin. And remember, it is for everyone's good, and you're saying no because you do not want to mess up your life, and you do not want to see other people mess up their life. And for all you know, when you say no to sin, when you say no to sin and temptation, you might just inspire someone else to say no to sin and temptation. But yeah, remember the word no and use it. And Don't let anyone try to guilt trip you into sinful actions and speech. Just walk away, and if people are going to be upset about it when you say no, don't let it get to you. Don't worry about it. Remember, you do not want to mess up your life. And I have seen it up close with a number of people, and it is not fun what they are going through because they gave into sin, and now they are living in suffering and misery every day. But you can't avoid suffering and misery every day when you use the word no. So remember the word no and use it with people. And then step number 6, this is a point that I have not mentioned before, and I might even create a video on this point. But yeah, step number 6 is skipping and missing the sinful, out of control parties and waiting for the future where you can find pure and controlled kind of parties. And we know in college and beyond, and even during grade school, there are people who like to throw parties that are sinful and out of control. It can be a party with dozens of people or even a few people in someone's dorm room or in someone's own room in their house. And the point here is, don't be afraid to skip and miss the sinful, out of control parties, but rather be brave and skip and miss the sinful, out of control parties and wait for the future where you can find pure and controlled parties. And we know how with parties, the ones that are out of control, people are tempted to try substances and risk single parenthood. And there are people who tempt you to try out stupid dares, like standing on the edge of a cliff, and one slip results in a lot of broken bones or death. And, jumping from way too high into the pool and other stupid dares. I mean, it really hurts people, and there are people who die from all of those stupid dares. And we know what the consequences are with substances and risking single parenthood. And those kinds of temptations take place at the sinful, out of control parties in college and beyond, and even during grade school. And I hope that you can remember the point here with this step, to skip and miss the sinful, out of control parties and wait for the future where you can find pure and controlled parties. And you can find those pure and controlled parties in the future. I know with me, I have enjoyed the pure and controlled parties with people like Joel and Tyler and Alex and Jake when we get together once in a blue moon for a video game night, just like we have done this year on January 1st and on Super Bowl Sunday. We had a great time playing video games and Mario Kart in a pure and controlled way. And once in a blue moon, we get together for bowling. And also, once in a blue moon, just like the one day in April of this year, we had fun at Kings Island. And we had fun riding the roller coasters again. And that is a party day in itself in a pure and controlled way. And then going forward into the summer, there will be more pure and controlled kind of party days at Cedar Point, whether it is with other people or whether I am by myself. Cedar Point is still fun, and I do enjoy the party days where I can play my favorite sports with people in Lakeside in a pure and controlled way, playing shuffleboard, basketball, volleyball, and gaga ball. You know, it's all very innocent and pure and controlled kind of party days there. And nobody's getting hurt. And it is pure kind of fun with no big consequences. And I hope that you can wait for the future where you will be able to find good Christian company and you can enjoy the pure and controlled kind of parties in the future. I hope that you can remember that step. And then step number 7 out of 8. Step number 7 for keeping your faith in college and beyond is know when to disagree. Know when to disagree. And I think about this because in college and beyond, and even during grade school, there are people who say things which do not line up with the Bible. And I remember when I was in college, there was a student who asked the professor, "Do you believe that there is one true way with religious beliefs?" And the professor responded by saying, "No, I would not be a good sociologist professor if I believed that there was only one true way." But I disagreed with that. And do you know why? Because we know from the Bible, John chapter 14, verse 6. John chapter 14, verse 6 clearly states, Jesus answered, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Jesus answered, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." So there is only one true way, and that is Christianity and accepting Jesus. And yeah, I remember in that moment, that was in 2015 or 16 when I was in college. That moment, the professor had mentioned how they do not believe that there is one true way, but I remember instantly disagreeing because I know what John chapter 14 verse 6 has to say. How Jesus says, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." So, in order to keep the faith in college and beyond, know when to disagree. When anyone says something that does not line up with the Bible, that is the time to disagree. And then, when someone says something that does line up with the Bible, that is the time to agree. But yeah, when someone is saying something that does not line up with the Bible, that is the time to disagree. And then finally, step number 8 is practice, practice, practice living for God every day. Practice living for God every day. And just like how I have improved with my bowling game, shooting at the 4-pin and the 7-pin, I know that I have gotten better and better at taking down the 4-pin and the 7-pin. And I know throughout all of the last 15, 16, 17 years, the more that I have practiced living for God, the stronger a Christian I have become. And for you out there, the more you practice living for God and the more you practice living as a Christian, the stronger you will get as a Christian. So you can do what is right according to the Bible, and you can stay out of sinful actions and stay out of sinful speech. And it is important to remember all of these steps in college because, the stories are real of partying every single night in a way that is out of control. And even though I did not live on a college campus, which honestly I think is healthier, I know what I have seen on college campuses when I have visited them. And I was talking to a Lakeside buddy recently, and this guy told me when he was living on a college campus for a semester in Florida, and then when he was living on a college campus for a semester in Ohio, he was telling me how it was every day and every night when people were trying substances and breaking boundaries in dating, sleeping together, risking single parenthood, and cussing up a storm, taking the Lord's name in vain. And there were people who were pushing this stuff onto this guy that I know. And thankfully, he stood his ground and he said no to all of that sin. But the reality is that college and beyond, and even during grade school, temptations to sin will happen. And that's why we always have to be on our guard so we can say no to sin and evil and temptation. And I hope that you can remember all of these steps. I hope that you can remember all of these steps so you can keep your faith in college and beyond. And I will have all of these steps listed in the YouTube description for this video. And I know that this has been another serious video and everything, but we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it because we know what has happened in history and even in the present day and probably in the future. There are young people who never really dedicated their life to the Lord when they were in grade school. And then as soon as a young person, now a young adult, goes to college, so many young adults get swept into the sinful lifestyle and they throw away their Christian faith and they live in a sinful way that dishonors God. And I hope that you can remember all of these steps so you do not throw away the Christian faith and you do not dishonor God, but rather when you are in college and beyond, and even right now in grade school, you can grow in your faith and you can stand up for yourself and you can stay out of trouble and you can keep the faith. You can keep the faith. And yeah, just be very careful with what you decide on doing after high school graduation. It is possible to get a college diploma by commuting and driving home after school and also completing online courses. But yeah, be very careful with what you decide to do after high school when it comes to college, and just be very careful with everyone that you meet. And I hope that you can remember these steps and you can keep the Christian faith. And I hope that I have motivated you with these 2 videos for the sequel to Keeping the Faith in College and Beyond. So, I thank you again for listening and watching. And You can find these videos in the playlist with the other serious talking videos. And yeah, just stay well and be safe and always stay on your guard and live for God. And I will see you later. Thank you.